an enormous alarm bell right now that things may be a little bit, kind of out of sync, but, this is our starting point. And as a starting point, we do already see big differences among the groups.
Okay, now that is important to note. This is a starting point. This is the first time you're actually putting all this data together for these specific reasons. But tell me, which states are doing it right? Well, I should say. Which states are doing a better job at distributing vaccines? And what are they doing to make their numbers better?
So I mean, certainly based off of our data, you can kind of get a sense of a couple of states who are doing what seems to be a better job. There are, of course, different ways of looking at that question, but certainly the ones that jumped out to me were Vermont, Oregon, and Washington, which were all states with relatively high quality of data, and that also had a smaller difference between the groups. It doesn't mean that there weren't gaps, but they certainly seemed to be doing a more kind of equitable job so far. As for what's happening on the ground, that is kind of the big question that we still don't entirely understand why some states are doing a better job than others. This is also something that you see if you look at our general tracker, which just looks at, the pace of vaccination overall. And we have been somewhat stumped at seeing why some states like the Dakotas, for instance, have been incredibly efficient at rolling out vaccines. Other states less so. It could be all manner of factors, from kind of government decisions, from willingness among the population to get vaccinated. It's a complex story, and one that we're certainly going to keep reporting out.
Andre, I want to put you on the spot there and find out what's the number one piece of information that you want to find out while searching through this data.
And so I think certainly, if you live in a state, you probably just want to know, either that you are a member of one of these kind of, underserved groups or groups hit particularly hard. You just want to know, what is the kind of share of this group that's so far been vaccinated with at least one dose, and how do we compare? So actually, one of our graphics, which uses these bar charts, I think does a very, very good job of showing that, a very quick, immediate sense of where kind of the groups stack up. So I'd probably say that. And then kind of, as I mentioned, for people who are consuming the tracker, an element to really pay attention to is that data quality element. The darker the purple, the better the data.
Okay, Andre, thank you for joining us. We're definitely going to keep an eye on that vaccine tracker. Meantime, coronavirus cases and hospitalizations are dropping fast across the U.S., suggesting that measures to interrupt transmission are working, at least for now. Bloomberg's Lisa Abramowitz spoke with Johns Hopkins University senior scholar Amesha Dalja, there we go, about what numbers we should focus on when it comes to seeing improving signs in the fight against the pandemic.
When you look at hospitalizations, I do think we're in a better place. The question is this sustainable? But I can see it in the numbers. I worked yesterday in the hospital. I can just tell by the pace and the cadence of the patients that there is something going on, and I think it's a good thing. And hopefully it continues this way, and we don't get derailed, and vaccination keeps up with the pace, and we stay ahead of the variants. But it does look okay in the hospitals right now, better than it has for several months.
Doctor, relatively speaking, of course, I think we share that view. Good news starting to come out in the last couple of weeks. You mentioned the new variations, the new strains. How well are we tracking them in America right now?
Not very well. I think we really only do kind of a drop in the bucket or the tip of the iceberg. We just get a certain percentage of our tests are getting sequenced, so we really don't know what level of prevalence we have of any of these variants. So whatever numbers you look at on the CDC dashboard, we know that those are an underestimate, that they're not all getting tested. And we have likely more UK variant here than we've actually counted. So that's going to be the big if, is how much these spread and if they actually translate into more cases, more hospitalizations, and more deaths. And the goal, though, is to stay ahead of them with the vaccination rollout. And we have hit over 2 million vaccine doses a couple of days ago. So we are doing well in that standpoint, not well enough, because it is basically a race to the end with this variant.
The race, this is what a lot of people have been talking about. Amish, how big is the risk that we lose this race and that the variants take over and there's a new wave, the vaccinations are not sufficient to really protect against these, and then there's a new variation that just builds on itself? I mean, how close are we to that cycle?
Well, the issue really is not about getting everybody vaccinated ahead of the UK variant. The UK variant is going to become dominant just by simple Darwinian laws. This is going to be the strain that most people contend with after some time. But the key is getting the vulnerable populations vaccinated, those people who get hospitalized, who get severe illness, or who die, because that's what this vaccine is about. It's not about making COVID go away. We're not getting to COVID zero. This is an efficiently spreading respiratory virus. It's about defanging it or taming it so that we never see it put hospitals into crisis. We never see it kill again. So if we can get our nursing home patients vaccinated, if we can get the community dwelling elderly vaccinated, then I think, yes, the new variant is here and it's causing cases, but it doesn't cause the same damage that we're dealing with now, with people dying from this in the thousands per day. That's the goal here, is to get to get this virus looking like the other coronaviruses that cause 25% of our common colds through vaccination.
A lot of people are saying that in some ways this could have been so much worse had this coronavirus been more virulent, and this will not be the last pandemic. How close are we to having a vaccine that's easily adaptable to the new strains that come out and to potentially new variations of coronavirus that do emerge from a zoonotic transmission or elsewhere?
So the thing is that they used vaccine platform technologies, all of the companies, Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson. That makes them very easy to plug and play. So you can update those vaccines against other coronaviruses pretty simply. And it's now something that we're already starting to do. The companies are starting to make these types of changes. It's unclear when they're going to need to deploy them or if we're going to need to deploy them, because the vaccines, even though they may have problems against certain variants like the 135 in South Africa, they're still able to prevent what matters, severe disease, hospitalization, and death. So I think we've got to make a kind of a policy decision. Is that good enough to be able to stop the severe consequences? Or are we trying to really decrease spread? And then if it's decreased spread, then I think you have to think about updating the vaccines. But if it's just the severe consequences, then I think we're in good shape with all of these vaccines.
The Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health is supported by Michael R. Bloomberg, founder of Bloomberg LP and Bloomberg Philanthropies. Now, in other coronavirus news from across the world, Israel has started allowing the Palestinian Authority to deliver the first coronavirus vaccines to the Gaza Strip. It comes despite objections from Israeli lawmakers who suggested they be used as a bargaining chip for the release of captives held by Hamas. Israel has faced international criticism for largely excluding Palestinians in its highly successful vaccination campaign. The Palestinian Authority, which governs parts of the West Bank, is not publicly requesting vaccines from Israel. Turkish President Recep Erdogan says the country will soon begin to ease restrictions aimed at slowing the spread of COVID. The country has been imposing nighttime curfews during the week and full lockdowns on weekends. Restaurants and cafes have been allowed to offer takeout meals only. And starting in March, Turkey's provinces would be divided into 4 categories according to infection levels. Weekend lockdowns will be lifted in regions where infections are tailing off. And the European Commission has secured hundreds of millions of additional COVID vaccines as it sought to put its inoculation campaign back on track. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says the the EU needs to further upscale mass production of vaccines as variants are on the rise.
The increased spread of the new COVID-19 variants, first identified in the United Kingdom, South Africa and Brazil, are a potential paradigm shift in the global fight against COVID-19. We need to further upscale mass production of new vaccines, but also of existing vaccines.
Coming up, what happens when a city's largest employer goes work from anywhere? We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is Quick Take.
Access the financial world on demand. Hear from leading economists, policymakers, and industry experts via live and on-demand webinars, only from Bloomberg. Start exploring to see what's moving the markets. Visit Bloomberg.com/webinars.
Our generation's biggest problem.
Climate change is happening.
And the world's most innovative solutions.
Transport, industry, buildings, electricity, all of those things.
Everything you need to know about our changing environment, the politics of global warming.
We can and we will deal with climate change.
In the fight against climate change, Bloomberg Green has you covered.
Welcome back to Quick Take the Lead. I'm Renita Young. Now, in this week's City Lab segment, the pandemic has shifted day-to-day life for not only businesses, but cities as a whole. The Salesforce Tower in San Francisco used to be a monolith, showing the relationship of tech in the Bay Area. But after the company announced a permanent work from anywhere order, many wonder what the future holds. So we're joined right now by City Lab reporter Laura Bliss, who covers the topic in a recent article. Laura, thanks for being here. And this area thrives off of foot traffic. So tell me, what does this Salesforce remote work policy mean for downtown San Francisco?
Thank you so much for having me, Renita. It's always great to be with you. So I think one of the big questions here that we don't know yet is exactly how many employees are going to take on, the opportunity to come in just one or a couple days a week. But in aggregate, I mean, now Salesforce, which is the city's largest private employer here in San Francisco, is joining with Twitter, Facebook, Square, and a number of other major employers that are moving towards similar policies. And so it's really this aggregate effect that observers say, is likely to have some long-term trends on foot traffic, certainly, as you say, on transportation patterns. And what that adds up to are long-term impacts on the cafes and restaurants and shoe shine shops that kind of make up this downtown ecosystem. It means less local tax revenue for the city of San Francisco itself, as some of those, tax dollars, whether it's to the local lunch shop or to, where people are actually doing their work from, are going into other cities in the Bay Area. And questions about the jobs and livelihoods of the service workers and cleaning staff that actually, were working inside some of these downtown tech offices.
Right.
So there's a lot of questions out there about what the kind of future of San Francisco's downtown is going to be like.
You're right. And you mentioned transit. And so we know that there's an adjacent Salesforce transit development that also went up with the building. So walk us through how this could change mass transit.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting question. I mean, one, just on a kind of.
Well, that's better.
You know what? If I just click the little icon that says, turn the camera on.
It's amazing how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought, he must be grabbing a snack or something and has that playing.
I'm sitting there and I just see an L in a green dot, and I'm thinking, okay, Lou's going to get on. He's not getting on. He's
Glad you texted that.
Then I heard you clear your throat, and I'm like, okay, I can hear him. Oh shit. Okay, here we go.
I came up Mount Jackson Hill not that long ago, but I didn't see any Confederate flags lowered to half-mast in honor of Rush.
Oh, we're going to get to that later. Well, we're going to get to that one later. I will say ahead of time, It's just us, and right now 22 of our closest friends. I'm not going to miss him.
No, I blame him for some of the start of a lot of that crap that took away some of our family members with his bullshit.
Yep,
like
I agree.
Master Grant said, listen to him for a week and you start believing him.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to him for a month, you're hooked.
Yeah. The upside, if there is an upside, and again, I really don't want to spend too much time on it now. I want to wait to see if Master Grant or Frank get on. The upside is there's a huge hole now. Then there's a huge void that needs to be filled. And later on, I'm going to ask you what you think about that and who you think is going to end up taking his spot or his time slot or whatever you want to say. But there's something I wanted to hit you with. You remember Parler, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
back
kind of hard.
up and running, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And here's the funny thing. If I'm not mistaken, Lou, it used to be Parlor.
No, it was ER.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if people caught the headline or not. Parler, the app that swears it isn't just for Nazis, is back online thanks to Nazis. Okay. This is one of the things, Lou, that I don't think I really don't think people pay enough attention to. Okay. And the reason I say that is because we see something, and I'm just going to use Twitter, okay, because it's something everybody knows. And I'm not picking on Twitter. I'm not saying anything against Twitter. I'm just using that as an example. Everybody goes to Twitter. You need something, you want something. You recognize Twitter. You go to Twitter. You see all that, but no one pays attention to the back end. Okay, Twitter's not just out there in the void someplace. Something's hosting it. Something is providing the platform, the actual servers and everything for them. Okay, they can't exist without being on either a VM or, well, at this point it has to be VMs because Twitter's just so big. You really can't have enough actual hardware. It's all going to be virtual machines that are doing it. So no one really pays attention who's hosting them. All right. Generally speaking, your hosts fall into three categories. It's either AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google. Okay, Google has their cloud service as well. That's pretty much about it. There's really nothing else here in the U.S. Okay, there's really nothing else. You have some other platforms, some other service providers in other countries, but they're not nearly as big as those three. AWS being the biggest, Microsoft coming the second biggest, and they're really close. And over the next couple of years, they're going to be battling out as to who's number one. And then Google's kind of like doing their own thing. And with Google, you never know. They may get bored with it, tomorrow and decide to just cancel it. But in any case, the reason I say this is because if you scroll and you read, if you read this article from AV Club, they kind of go into how after Google essentially getting blacklisted, yada 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 yada. It's back online for a segment of the internet that looks at Twitter and thinks to themselves, "This is a great line. This place is too politically correct for me." Okay. If you remember right, Parler was hosted by AWS. AWS gave him the backbone, gave him the spine for it, which meant that all of Parler's platforms run AWS, Amazon Web Services. AWS killed them and told them you were no longer welcome here because they didn't uh, uh, conform to the terms of service that that they agreed to whenever you get on AWS's platform. Okay. After some looking around, Epic Incorporated, EPIK Incorporated, ended up being the host for them. It's a platform register based in Washington State. But Epic has a huge history of backing Nazi-adjacent sites like Gab, Patriots Win, and 8chan, which eventually changed their name as well. Epic is the current register for Parler's domain. The register is something that is pretty much equivalent to GoDaddy or things like that, if you remember the commercials. Okay. The problem that we have here is this Epic Inc. is notorious for hosting basically hate groups. Okay, they've even gone so far as some real like crazy ass Middle East shit, right? They're like I said, they've done Gab, Patriots Win, 8chan. They're not what you would call a reputable site. Okay, if you were going to if you were going to buy something off of eBay, we'll say, or not eBay, we'll say Amazon, or well, eBay would work too. And your choices are, let's say you're going to buy a graphics card, and your choices are Best Buy, who does sell things on eBay, or insert shady name here, okay, from China. And you choose the insert shady name here from China as where you're buying this graphics card. And whenever you get it in the mail, it's basically crap. That's pretty much the equivalent. Okay? That's pretty much it. That's the equivalent. I don't know if the apps are back up on Google, on the Google Store, or Apple or not. To be honest, I probably should look right now. In fact, I'm going to look on the Apple one and see if it's there.
Here, I'll look on the Android.
And you can look on Android. But I'm real curious to get your thoughts about this while we're looking this up.
Well, the Nazis need a place to vent.
Yeah, apparently, where is it? Okay, apparently Parler is up on.
We'll see now. It says PARLOR.
That's LOR, right? That's what I'm seeing too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
kind of a purple and orange. P.
Yeah, a P with a white background.
Social talking app.
So that's that. But I don't see the ER.
It says it's a fake app here to confuse people on this comment. But these are back from 122, 1919.
It's according to Apple, the Apple Store. It's number 17 in social networks. This OR.
It comes up right there with OAN, Blaze, The Wire, and all the other bullshit.
Version histories go back 3 months on this. I don't think it's the same one. I think it's a knockoff.
Yeah.
Right? I do. I think this is a knockoff. However, well, it's probably the same shit. Just the cheap version of it. The ER version is not on the Apple Store. But the ER or the OR is. I thought originally it was OR. I guess I was mistaken. But You can't find it on Android? Same thing? You're getting the same shit?
Same thing.
So either this ER one, and I'm half tempted, I'll be honest, I'm half tempted to, well, you know what? Just while we have it up, why don't we do this? Just to say we did. Okay? Why don't we do this? Let's get this tab up here and see what happens whenever we grab this. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay. So we go if we go OR, which is the original one, I think it is, okay. This seems to be what we're getting. Okay. So there's that. That's the OR one. And if I go to the App Store, because like I said, I am on an Android. Okay, this is pretty much what we had on the phone. Okay, so that's pretty much what we had. But if we go back to this ER one, right?
See, I can't show you my screen. I put it in on Brave. And it bounced me to Parler, either have an account, log in, or create new account.
Huh. Well, you're seeing what happens whenever I try to do Parler. Okay.
Yeah, this is off of the Brave browser.
Well, I'm on. Believe it or not, I'm on Microsoft Edge, which I happen to like, by the way.
Yeah, it's not bad. I use it sometimes.
Yeah, well, it's Chromium based, so it's basically the Microsoft version of Chrome.
You know what? It is showing on mine, Apple or Android, and back in the corner on that.
Yeah, this isn't letting me on here at all. I wonder if I got some settings that are, a little strange. But
Parler for Android. Please select your Android version.
Is that the Parler ER?
Yeah.
All right, so you're getting in, huh?
Well, yeah, I'm on the thing is, this laptop, it's kind of, I think with 10, it kind of fakes websites into believing it's an Android device when it isn't.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this isn't letting me on there at all. And we're both on we both use Comcast, so that's that.
Social media the way it's supposed to be.
Yep. I like it. The way it's supposed to be. What do you think?
Guidelines are minimalist and formulated objectively based on fair and just legal precedent and business policy.
Epic isn't a Nazi sympathizing business. This is what Epic is saying, but rather simply a company that believes everyone has the right to absolute free speech, no matter how aggressive, damaging, or dangerous that speech may be. But judging from Epic's founder, the conveniently named Robert Monster, okay, his past public political views are, quote, at times almost indistinguishable from those of the neo-Nazis he's defended on Gab, according to the Huffington Post. Your thoughts about this before I ask you the obvious question.
You know what? It's just the alternative universe of disinformation. I don't, and if you talk about what else is it going to be but a white supremacist platform?
Are you ready for the obvious question?
Yeah, okay, hit your obvious question.
Does Trump get on that?
Oh, guaranteed. He gets on.
You think?
I believe he will eventually. If he's not on already under, what was his pseudonym?
Oh.
Donald John or something.
Something stupid like that, yeah.
John Donald.
Yeah. Whatever, he was the what do you call it? The publisher or whatever, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Was that it? Yeah. Yeah. That was unique. That was very unique. Actually, I'll be honest with you. I don't think he does the pseudonym or whatever. If he gets on that, I think he's using his whole real name. He wants the accolades, right? He wants the adulation. There's no way in hell he's going to pass up not having his name on that. We can't find it on. Like I said, I can't find it on the App Store on the Apple version. Just the OR one. New host, new back end, new CEO. You think they're going to let him back on Android and iOS?
Well, apparently, if you go to, I think how you download it is go to Parler.com, then you got an icon at the bottom of that first screen that lets you download it into your Android or Apple device.
Well, I don't really. Well, you're not gonna sideload on an iOS device, right? You're simply not going to. I wonder if they're basically, and you know what, Master Grant's on coming on right now, so he's a really good one to ask. Master Grant, we're talking about the new Parler app, okay? And I tried looking it up on iOS, and Luce tried looking it up on Android, and we couldn't find the Parler, the one that is making the great comeback. We do find the LOR one, but we're thinking that's probably some kind of ripoff. Now, Lou was saying that the Parler, the LER one, if you go to their website, they basically they're telling you that you can download the app from their website. Both of us on iOS know you can't do that unless you jailbreak an iOS phone, right? I'm wondering if they're just not showing you how to make the web page, the HTML code, as just make it as an app on your home screen, which basically is just a web address that has an icon. And if that's not what they're telling people to do.
Well, to me, it sounds like they're trying to save money. The moment that you go to the Apple Store, for example, you then have to sign various agreements. And who knows, maybe even Apple's denied them from being on the Apple Store. I don't know. But there's certain agreements you have to sign, and then Apple's able to extract funds if they're going to charge. Now, if it's free, they can't. But if there's funds, they take a percentage. Now, the difference between that and going, well, but then also if you go with the Apple, like iOS, you're going to be contingent to their rules. And so if you're not following their rules, they'll take you off. And so then your app doesn't work. So to me, I think that what they're trying to do is trying to be as independent as they can. And if you have to go to their website, so there's no question. I can create an app right now that I could send to you, and you could load on your phone. That would work. You could use, there's also utilities out there that will create apps, direct apps for you that you could put on your phone, but you have to download them directly and install them. And then when it comes up to this, do you trust this developer or not? You have to say yes. But you certainly can do it. I haven't seen what they're doing, but those are definitely options, and that keeps them free. So for example, I actually created a karate school attendance tracker app, which you would take it just loads on your phone, and then you can you use your phone, scan a barcode, and then it would tell that student would then be read, on that day and time, student was at class. That don't need to go to it works on. I just need to upgrade it when there's a new iOS upgrade. But
that's it, huh? Did you make one for Android too?
Yes, actually, the software that I have can create it in parallel, so you could create it for iOS and then create it for Android.
So it just what he does whenever it outputs. Then
it outputs it. There's some tweaks you have to do.
Yeah.
So like if you develop it in iOS, then there's some tweaking that's needed, but not much. So, and I know that the apps have gotten better.
Oh, good.
The development apps.
Good. Thank you for going to Prime soon. Spillone. Thank you very much. I'm sorry if I can't say your name correctly. But thank you. God knows we need it. I didn't know if you heard us earlier, but basically, the new Parler platform is on Epic, epik.com. Or I'm sorry, Inc. That's their back end. Remember, AWS kicked them off.
Right.
Basically, Epic is the host for sites like Gab, Patriots Win, 8chan. Basically, hate sites, right? White supremacist and hate sites. I'll be honest. I don't see an official app making it onto iOS anytime soon. Android, you can always sideload, right? So you can make the app and just sideload it. But I don't see an official app coming on iOS anytime soon. Do you?
No.
Doesn't Apple take like 20%?
Yeah, they take a hit.
Yeah, it's a big. It's a lot. See, Lou, maybe you want to stay on that Android stuff. I don't know, man. No, you don't. No, you really don't.
Hey, Bosco got a good deal on Mac Pros, $250 off for $9.99.
$9.99 what plus $250 off?
Well, no, it's $12.49 minus the $250.
Okay.
A Mac Pro 13-inch.
And then
with the Intel i5 system.
Do you know how much RAM?
The Intel ones, Master Grand, not the ARM ones.
How much? Yeah, that's good. And then what about the RAM? Does it say 8 gigs or 12?
Well, let's see what it does say.
That's right. Let's go with this. It's okay.
Yeah, let's see. Eight gig memory and a 512 gigabyte SSD.
Okay. For what you're using it for, you'll never fill up the SSD.
You know, that's pretty good. I mean, the 8 gigs. Is it growable? Can you add to it? Or is it just max 8 gigs?
Yeah, it just says Apple MacBook Pro. Let's see. I don't know if I can click on it.
MacBook Pro. You are able to get into to add memory, I believe, on the Pros. So I think that's a great deal.
Yeah, it's a pretty good deal.
For under $1,000, you'll use that thing for 10 plus years. Bless you.
Yeah, you probably won't buy another one. Honestly, you probably won't.
Actually, it's $11.99 after $250 off.
Oh, well, hey, hold on. You can do better.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, the 256 is $9.99.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't.
Dog.
Not a dog. 256 SSD is fine. It's nice and zippy, but so is the 500. It's half the capacity.
Half the capacity, yeah. So for $100 or whatever.
Yeah.
200.
Whatever.
Dude, trust me when I tell you, I can find you a 500 gig SSD for under $200. Right? I mean, I can get you an M.2 for under that. I know that means nothing to you. Just trust me. I can go even faster than that for under $200. Okay. Without breaking a sweat. We can do it. We can do that on Amazon. But keep looking. Keep looking. You're bound to come across a deal sooner or later. Problem is with Apple deals. I don't know about you, Master Grant, but whenever I see Apple deals, they just spring up. There's no warning.
Right. There's no warning. It's just boom, there it is, and you got to be able to take it.
You got to be able to jump on them. Yeah, that's the downside to those. Is you got to be ready. And if you see that deal late in the day, you probably missed it. I don't have a good segue into this, unfortunately, but Texas is going through some shit right now. They got hit with a with a huge snowstorm because you have this this thing called climate change, and they're not handling it very well. Have you seen the latest numbers about who still doesn't have power?
Oh, it's millions still.
Still. You want to take a guess as to why that is?
Yeah, I kind of know why it is after reading somewhat.
Deregulation.
They have their own private grid manager that is too damn cheap to winterize anything. The lines aren't buried underground enough for gas. That's why they're losing gas pressure into their power plants. Equipment's freezing because it's not winterized. They're blaming it on, well, it's because of heat in the summer, we can't do it. They invented air conditioning about 100 years ago,
I thought so.
It's all profit. They want profit. And conveniently, 7% of their stuff's green energy, and that's what caused the entire thing to collapse.
Right.
And there was a headline running across Fox News today: green energy disaster caused all this shit and caused all these deaths in Texas. Those people have no shame. You talk about just lying and truth doesn't matter anymore. My God.
They really said that.
Oh, yeah. Master Grant, here, let me show you.
Good heavens.
I'll show you. Here you go. Look at that. From Newsweek, Greg Abbott blames Texas power outages on green energy, but the state depends on gas.
That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, they got about 7% of green energy on some windmills.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what kills me about these things? Here he is. Spoke to Sean Hannity. Spoke to Lou. We might have to cut Master Grant off. Okay, because him and Hannity are tight, and I really don't want to get him in trouble. So we may have to turn him off for this segment. Anyhow, and he emphasized that wind turbines in Texas that failed due to cold weather. More than 4 million people were left without power or heat in freezing temperatures. Okay, we have wind turbines in Antarctica. Okay, we do. You can Google it right now and get all the pictures you want. Okay. It just shows that fossil fuel is necessary for the state of Texas as well as other states to make sure that we're able to heat our homes in the wintertime and cool our homes in the summertime. So he went on and on and on and on about this shit. However, yeah, they use gas for the large majority of their private grid, their energy grid.
Amazing how those windmills are sitting in the middle of the North Sea at Denmark and spinning through 10 below zero constantly.
All right, I just got off the phone with Sean Hannity. He says that's we're taking it out of context.
Oh, we are.
So I can't. Well, okay. Why would somebody say something like that? Why?
Because they're on the payroll.
Yes. Why? Because you got big, fat Exxon, Mobil, Sunoco executives who are paying lobbyists who are paying them to keep fossil fuel friendly technology in place. And because who's going to lose? Who will lose? Yeah. And like you said, they got windmills in Antarctica and up in Norway.
Just fine.
They're all over there. They work. I mean, what we get? what did we get? The sunshine only windmill? I mean,
Yeah. We got the non-insulated ones, right?
the non-insulated one will not work under 40 degrees.
Yeah, they had to order those special, I guess.
I mean, they're spinning on top of the ridges around Somerset in Pennsylvania. They get a little bit of snow and ice up there all the time.
Little bit, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
It's happened to be sitting next to a ski resort.
Yeah, so it's obvious. It's just that's mind-numbing how they then portray that as news, and people consume it as news, as fact. And so now, when you go, hey, green energy is going to generate billions of dollars and jobs, and people are going to say, no, can't have green energy. It's going to break down in the wintertime. God, see, that's the disservice.
To put a little bit of a positive spin on this, a little bit of one, calls for Texas governor to resign as he blames power outages on wind and solar. 5 million Texans are without power tonight, and temperatures are below freezing. People, here's the best part. I don't mean this in a good way. People will most certainly die tonight because of it. Okay? But Governor Abbott had to go on Sean Hannity and blame the Green New Deal. So we go on with this story. In response to Abbott's Hannity interview, Texas voting rights advocate Charlie Bonner, I had to be careful how I said that name, tweeted, "He's lying, people are dying, and he is on Fox News lying to you. We're living in fear, and Greg Abbott is playing politics with our lives. Greg Abbott doesn't care if you live or die tonight, so take care of each other, my friends. We're living in a failed state." I had a conversation with somebody on in our Discord group, and the conversation basically went along the lines of we're pretty much done with caring for welfare states, which is what Texas is turning into. Master Grant, I know it's going to kill you, but 2 months ago, these are the same idiots that were threatening to secede from the union. Remember that shit? 2 months ago, we're going to secede. We don't want you. We don't want this. We don't like how this is happening. How much you want to bet that asshole Greg Abbott, either yesterday, today, or tomorrow, if not earlier, is on the phone to the freaking federal government asking for help? How much you want to bet the same people who were more than willing to sit there and tell us all to go screw ourselves, we don't want your regulation, are now asking us for help? How much you want to bet me?
Oh, they have no shame. He's already made that call.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt he did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Part of me doesn't want him to have it. I got to be honest. Part of me doesn't want him to have it. You're going to stand there and throw your fit and hold your breath and be a brat? Suck it up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. That's you go around and you posture and postulate about being independent, succeeding from the union, etc. This is why we have a union.
This is
right?
it. Yeah, this is why we have a federal government. This is why we have regulation. Okay? This is why. Because if you knew this shit was coming, you could prepare for it, but you don't know when it's coming. Thus, you need the regulation. Right? We have regulations on airlines because if we knew when the damn plane was going to crash, we wouldn't put it up in the air. Flight 277 is going to crash on the 30th. Let's make sure it stays around.
That's the reason they have their own grid, because they didn't want the regulation.
Right. And now they want to build out.
The only part of Texas that has their own grid is, where's Beto from? The southern city?
I know El Paso.
Okay. El Paso is tied with the Western grid because of its location.
Yeah, just because it's proximity.
Guess who the only major city is that all the power's on, pretty much?
El Paso.
El Paso. Along with Mexico and into New Mexico and Arizona.
It's not rocket science, Master Grant. Doesn't take a genius to figure this one out.
No, or to figure out who and what's to blame.
No. And yet we're going to sit there and say, "Oh, it's the Green New Deal."
Yeah, and to make scapegoats
because of the 6 windmills they have in that whole freaking state. Right? It's their fault.
That has never passed as law and has never been implemented.
I'm sorry?
The Green New Deal. You mean the Green New Deal that was never passed into law and never implemented?
That one.
It's only a pipe dream at this point.
Yep, that one. That's the one. The one that was shot down. Was it shot down by the Senate? I think it passed the House, right?
Passed the House.
And McConnell shot it down. Well, he didn't even let it go to the floor. If I'm not mistaken. It didn't even make it to the floor. So, I guess we get to blame AOC for this. And Biden. And Pelosi. And we might as well throw Kamala Harris in there, too.
Yeah, how Pelosi not see that cold front coming?
Right?
Not only did she not call the National Guard, which she has no authority to do, then she missed a cold front coming down to Texas. My God, what's that woman do?
Yeah, she's definitely slacking, obviously. Yeah, I would not be surprised if it all falls onto her shoulders, her lap, her fault.
Does it make a little suspicious that 3 of the 4 people that they're bitching about are female? AOC, Harris, and Pelosi. They don't like strong women.
Now, you know, Oklahoma, just to the north of Texas, is getting slammed as well. I mean, what do we hear about their situation?
As far as I know, they're doing just fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, roads are probably a mess, but
roads are a mess.
Roads are a mess.
People gotta stay inside because it's like 0 degrees.
Uh-huh.
But are they having such issues?
They appear to be. Looks to me like they're
be okay too.
Yeah.
They even plowed their side of the interstate.
Look out,
Texas. You know, one of them damn socialist snowplows.
Yeah, powered by green power, powered by windmill. So,
go ahead, Mr. Grant.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Now, we were talking about Mitch McConnell and him throwing the Green New Deal out. Wouldn't even let it in the Senate. That's way too much power for one man.
Mm-hmm.
Way too much power. And what do you think about? You guys may have already talked about it before I got on, but Donald Trump's ranting and raving in that article that he wrote about McConnell.
Funny, we did not mention that at all.
He's not smart enough to use those words in proper context. That was a Stephen Miller, right? Persuade me otherwise.
Can't.
You've seen the way that dumb motherfucker tweets. Come on.
No,
God, he got me the COVID coming back here.
That's yeah. I mean, I didn't even say it. Was it in all caps? Were stupid words capitalized and the proper ones not? I mean,
it was definitely Trump's sentiment, even though he didn't write. He definitely spoke something, and then this was written. So polished. So, but what was interesting to me in that tirade, was that we're starting to see the fracturing.
Yep.
As Trump basically said, guys want to follow him, go right ahead, you're losers. You're going to be losers. And he predicted that Mitch McConnell's going to fall even further.
Didn't he call McConnell a hack?
Mm-hmm. Sour-faced. Well, he's got that right.
Sour-faced, unsmiling political hack, or is that the context?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Political hack. Mitch McConnell is a political hack.
He's no political hack. We know that for sure. I mean, that's the man who masterminded all the federal judges and the Supreme Court judges. That was a mastermind of that was almost Darth Sidious level of political maneuvering, blocking blocking for a year the Democratic Senate for the Democrats from putting up somebody from President Barack Obama's nominations. Denied it for a year. Again, way too much power for one man, but he's no political hack.
For the last
might be a real bastard, but wouldn't call him a hack.
Piece of work, but a hack he's not. Lou, we've said for the last 4 years that Mitch McConnell was the most powerful man in Washington.
Yeah, he was. He got everything done he needed to get done and made Trump believe had Trump believing he actually made a decision.
He actually had Trump believing that he was leading the party, right? He was leading the agenda, I should say. He's leading the party. But he's a political hack now. Master Grant, did McConnell even respond to that?
He has not, but Lindsey Graham did.
Oh, Miss Lindsey did, huh?
Yes. Went on Sean Hannity.
Of course.
Sean Hannity's just living it up, man. He's got everybody on his show.
Yeah.
And basically said, this is dividing the party. And Republicans we're a unified party. And we can't let this division devour us. And that's what he said. It's not, he didn't say, Donald Trump, you're wrong. But he did just say that we can't let the party be divided. And
your party's going to be divided there, dude. We had talked. Well, I was talking to Miss Lindsey. We had talked about if this thing plays out the way we're all thinking it's going to play out, the only thing the Republican Party is going to win for the longest time is going to be a primary. Because these clowns are never going to win a general election.
Well, I'll tell you what the Democrats better do while they have a chance is, I read a good article today. They better admit 2 or 3 states real quick.
D.C.,
Puerto Rico, and U.S. Virgin Islands. The reason being is whoever's doing the studies on population, they feel in 10 to 20 years, 50% of the population in the country is going to be in 15 states.
Boy, I don't doubt that.
Those 15 states are probably going to be, say, 30 Democratic senators.
Yeah.
And when you have the rural 35, what are you going to get out of it?
Not a damn thing. I think the thing they should do first, though, Master Grant, is remove the filibuster.
Yeah, that first.
I really think that's the first thing they should do. Just remove it. There's no reason for a minority to have that much power in one branch of government.
Do you realize right now the Senate at 50-50, the Democrats represent 41 million more Americans than the Republicans?
41 million more.
41 million. Yeah. Not 4 million.
41 million. You tell me how this is
representation. It's not fair. It's not equal representation. Not at all. No. And yeah, you need a state like California. They need to have 5 senators. And then you got a state like Wyoming. That's 1. It's that simple. you got to have a better representation. In fact, we don't even need the Senate, but sorry.
Well,
sorry. But I think that, that needs to be, unfortunately, I don't think it'll ever happen, but it needs, but yeah, like you said, it was right. You're going to have 35 states that have probably more cows than people, and they're going to have the control to dictate their agendas, and the majority of people and where they live are going to be silenced. Something's got to go. Something's got to give.
Well, that's an interesting question, because what do we do with this now? Okay.
Trump 2020, yeah, that was his expiration date. They're right.
Yeah, well, all good things come to an end, I guess.
Yeah, call that good. You know what? 2021's been pretty good so far this year. Trump gone, Biden in, Limbaugh gone. Who else can we root for?
Wait, Limbaugh's gone.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about this.
Today.
Yeah, he died today.
He died.
Yeah. No, we're going to talk about that in a bit. I mean, Lou, other than the odd insurrection, everything's been pretty good this year, huh?
Yeah, that was the 6th. So.
So Trump lost and Limbaugh died.
So far, so good, huh?
Where do you think he is right now?
Hell. If there is one.
Yeah.
Explaining a lot, I'm hoping.
What's that?
Explaining a lot, I'm hoping.
He can make conversation with Goebbels and that clan.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure he's let me fill you guys in on a few things here. Let's see, this isn't it. This is going to be it here. Hold on 1 second. You guys are going to love this. Well, I don't mean that in a good way. Okay. Here's a few of our boy Rush's greatest hits.
There's actually a debate going on ESPN and throughout the sports world over who can use the N-word, when and how, and who can't, when and how. A little history lesson for you. If any race of people should not have guilt about slavery, it's Caucasians. The white race has probably had fewer slaves and for a briefer period of time than any other in the history of the world. No other race has ever fought a war for the purpose of ending slavery, which we did. Nearly 600,000 people killed in the Civil War. It's preposterous that Caucasians are blamed for slavery when they've done more to end it than any other race. It's preposterous that Caucasians are blamed for slavery when they've done more to end it than any other race.
They have discovered that Obama does have slave blood. Slave blood.
I had never experienced the kind of euphoria that I got from a pain pill.
The Republicans are just totally bamboozled right now. They think they've got to rebrand, and it's all predicted. They got to reach out to minorities. The Republican Party lost because it's not conservative. Why does putting Condoleezza Rice front and center at the convention not work? Why does putting Marco Rubio front and center at the convention not work? Why does putting Suzanne Martinez, the governor of New Mexico, front and center convention not work? So, nigga with an A on the end. Well, I think I can now. Isn't that the point? Because it's not racist. That's the point. I could be talking about a male. I could be a Chinese male, a guy at the laundromat. I could be talking about a man. That's what she said it means. Because it's not racist. Because it's not racist. Because it's not racist. How many Native Americans, how many Indians were killed by the arrival of the white man through disease and war And how many people have died since the white man arrived here due to lung cancer, thanks to the Indian invented custom of smoking tobacco? Who are the real killers here? Where are our reparations? Where are our reparations? Go this right out of Adolf Hitler's playbook. Now, what are the similarities between the Democrat Party of today and the Nazi Party in Germany? Well, the Nazis were against big business. They hated big business. And of course, we all know that they were opposed to Jewish capitalism. They were insanely, irrationally against pollution. They were for 2 years mandatory voluntary service to Germany. They had a whole bunch of make-work projects to keep people working, one of which was the Autobahn. They were against cruelty and vivisection of animals, but in the radical sense of devaluing human life, they banned smoking. They were totally against that. They were for abortion and euthanasia of the undesirables, as we all know, and they were for cradle-to-grave nationalized health care. Well, it's a good point. You know how to stop abortion? Require that each one occur with a gun. You put your kids on a school bus, you expect safety, but in Obama's America, the white kids now get beat up with the black kids cheering, yeah, right on, right on, right on. There is an attack on masculinity that's been going on in our culture since the advent of the modern era of feminism, the late 60s, early 70s. I mean, the way I've been conditioned by the Democrats and the left in this country, that sounds like a hate crime. That Trayvon Martin starts pummeling Zimmerman because the gal on the phone, Rachel Jeantel, say, hey, a guy could be a rapist, you better run. But Trayvon's no coward. He's going to run away from stuff, so he starts pummeling on Zimmerman. Folks, there's actually a debate going on ESPN and throughout the sports world over who can use the N-word, when and how, and who can't.
Well, that seems to be the it's starting to loop a little bit here. Are you kidding me? And this guy has the what award did he get before he killed?
Presidential Medal of Freedom. Well, he got Trump elected, don't forget. You realize the bullshit he started is he did nothing but he brought out every racist, homophobe, Nazi, right-wing, whatever, rallying around this guy. And you know what? You think about him being on the air for 30 years, and there's a good article in the Rolling Stone on him. He must have just released. It says, one universe is an entire lie. This is 30 years worth, probably. Everything run, dominated, and controlled by the left here and around the world is a lie. The other universe is where we are, and that's where reality reigns supreme, and we deal with it.
I guess to ask a rhetorical question, Master Grant, what do you do with a piece of shit like this?
That's someone who is that's someone that we there's no that's a higher playing judge is going to be ruling on him, and when he sees his life rolled back and the damage, the terrible damage that he's done, there will be an accounting for.
You know who saved Limbaugh's career? Because he was about done in 2008. Obama.
Getting elected.
Yeah.
Sure. My God, the black man got elected.
Yep.
Most of that stuff you just played was from when? Most of it was from 2009 on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was
every racist fear and feminine fear there ever was.
How the hell did he stay on the radio?
Hey, you got a brother, and so do I, that was hooked on him.
Oh yeah,
There are a ton of people you wouldn't even expect.
Believe me, I was back before I started OSG, I was working construction. I always carried a radio. You know, I'd love to listen to music while I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in town. I come up and I'm like, what the hell's on my radio? The HVAC guy was playing Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we almost got in fisticuffs because I told him to turn the bullshit off, and he didn't even ask permission to use my radio, especially to put propaganda crap on it like that. He took great offense to that.
So he did all of that without even asking if he could do anything with your. He just did it.
Yep.
That's entitlement for you.
Yeah, because I was probably running in and out of a house. You know, we were finishing, so that meant we were probably cutting wood in the garage so you don't throw sawdust all over your, finish. So you're in and out constantly, Yep. Yeah. Like, seriously, dude?
When I was in college, he had a pretty good following on campuses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's
got so-called intellectuals like general practitioners, lawyers, all hooked on that nonsense that we just heard. And it's what it is. It's actually unbelievable that he's able to say those things.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't understand how he was not booted off of the radio.
He still commanded, well, they said it was hard to gauge now, but they were figuring he still commanded 14 million listeners a day.
A day.
And the majority would be on AM radio, which is a dying medium. And I mean, if you're under 70, do you know anybody that listens to AM radio?
What's the one thing about listeners of AM radio, though? What's the one thing every single one of them do?
Vote.
They vote. Every one of them. Right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I listen to AM radio for the baseball games. And, sometimes.
I was going to say, that's probably about the only thing left. I was trying to think what you'd listen to. Because even like the Steelers and Penguins are all on FM now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I still love listening to baseball on the radio. That's still one of my favorite things to do in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can you get the Major League Baseball app on the phone now, and that's basically what you go to the Pirates and it's KDKA, you hear the KDKA broadcast.
Mm-hmm. Still one of my absolute favorite things to do. Just be out in the yard or on the porch, the adult beverage, and just listening to a game.
So who do you think's the next big lying piece of shit that could take over for him?
Yeah, that was going to be the question. Who's going to fill that void now?
Hannity.
You think he's
going to? He's the heir apparent.
Well, I tell you what, boy, that's asking a lot of him. He's going to be working double time 5 days a week. That's asking.
As long as he doesn't have to move around a lot. I mean, he's fat enough as it is. So as long as they can keep him like in one location, sit him down and just let his mouth roll.
You think he's good then, huh?
He's another one. He's another one. Just
maybe Trump will take over on radio.
I'll tell you who I think it's going to be. Is that Candace? What's her name?
Candace Owens.
Yep. You know why? Right? Female, minority, the new face of the Republican Party, and she's just going to spill the same bullshit that he is.
they're probably having a memorial to Rush on Fox tonight.
Yeah, they'll give him a memorial. Hope NPR rips him apart. CNN. I mean, the guy did more of it. He hurt this country more than any good he could have done.
Over 30 years, he did far more damage than Trump did.
Mm-hmm.
In 4.
Well, he caused Trump.
Oh yeah, he's responsible for Trump.
Yeah, he created Trump. Yes. And no question. And all these MAGA idiots. That's his legacy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And they're gonna be scrambling now, trying to find a replacement. I'm real curious as to who that's going to be. What they're going to have to do is up their game. They're going to have to up their game. Either that or they stay in the shadow.
Well, Sean Hannity commands what, 3 to 6 or 3 to 5 or 3 to 6, I think.
He's your friend, not mine. I don't know when the hell he's on.
And they're going to move him 12 to 3. And he'll take that spot.
You know what they could do? They could just simulcast it then, right?
They could always get Mike Pence back. He's looking for work.
I don't know, man. If I was him, I'd be afraid to stick my head out of my house.
Mike Pence can try to make amends.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they will simulcast him. Move his time slot because is he winning or losing his time slot though? I guess that would be the factor, right? Because if he's winning his time slot, what time is he on?
It was right after Rush. So it went Rush, then Sean on the radio.
Oh, really? So he already had a radio show then?
Oh yeah. It was 12 to 3 was Rush, and 3 to 6 was Sean, and then Sean went on the air at like 7 or whatever time he is.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, like you don't know.
9 o'clock, isn't he?
Bing, bing. Oops, I'm getting my ding. Oops, I'm gonna have to go watch Sean's on.
Wasn't he opposite Maddow and Cuomo?
Well, he moved around a little bit because what's the prime slot for them on Fox? Is it 8 or 9?
Oh, it's got to be 8 o'clock. Anybody at 9 o'clock, all their watchers have to be going to bed by then.
Maybe Laura Ingram's 9 and Sean's 8.
Well, maybe. It's absolutely hysterical, is it, that none of us know?
No, I think it's good. I think it's a good thing that we don't know.
But we're talking about it, though.
It's a bad thing that I even knew.
One of us looked it up.
The bad thing that I knew that radio times. The only reason I know the radio times is because I spent a lot of time in the car, being a consultant, driving around from here to there. And, I'd flip the channels and I'd hear Shawnee, and I'd have to stick on it for a little bit.
So you're really looking forward to baseball season, aren't you?
I go, drive over to Lou's car and, go in there and switch channels real quick and drive off. That's like,
just gonna know what side he's at, right?
You're like this. Back in the day, before I got Comcast, I had DirecTV.
Mm-hmm.
I had the parental controls on Fox, so nobody could turn it on when they came to my house.
I like that.
Watch any channel they wanted except that one.
Yeah, I went so I got Comcast, I got the base package, and they gave you some TV. So I went, okay, I want to see only the free channels. Fox News, Fox. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's like, oh.
Fox Business, Fox News, FS1 maybe, the local Fox channel. Yep. Unbelievable, isn't it? They figured it out. Just give it away.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it away. Make your money on the advertising. It's no different than an app. Right? Give the app away. Make the money on the advertising. Murdoch's got some history. He still owns Sky News and all that other shit. You know that, right? Yeah. So he knows what he's doing. He's no dummy. He figured this shit out a long time ago. Unbelievable.
I just couldn't believe that. I'm getting it. I couldn't believe what Rush was saying with just comments were unbelievably just unbelievable. How could anybody? I don't know.
That's how it goes. I'll do you one better. You know why he said all that stuff? Because he could.
Here, I just shot you a meme over. It's like find instead of find Waldo on Discord.
Oh, geez. Every time he's. Oh, all right. Yeah, this is gonna be shared. There you go.
That's good.
There you go. I kind of want to keep an eye on this because I'm real curious to see who they're going to have. You know, who they're going to replace him with. And he owned that network that he was on. So is somebody going to be on that network now that's going to take his spot? Are they going to drop that network and pick up another one? How are these radio stations going to do this?
Well, probably they'll initially have his typical replacements, right? The people who fill in for him, who sub for him. So they'll rotate those people around for a while they make, probably for a couple of weeks while they make their decision.
I'm sure a lot of small AM radio stations put them on too because it saved the stations with ad revenue.
Probably.
They worked that just like Fox. They got the show for free as long as they put it on, and they had to give so much ad revenue to Limbaugh's show, and then they had the rest for themselves.
Wonder if it was less than what Apple charges for the App Store. It's 20%, dude. I mean, it's a hit.
20%'s a lot.
20% of $1.99 doesn't seem like a whole lot until you figure that's 4 million apps. People are downloading this thing. That's quite a bit, and that's just one. Yeah. That's just yours. That's not the one Master Grant has. It's not the one I have. That's just yours. Right? There's a lot of money there. Well, you supply the platform. I suppose you can do that, but still, ton of money. What do you guys think? You want to wrap it up?
Yep.
I think we should wrap it up. I think.
Maybe go turn Joy on, see what she says about Rush. She's probably smiling.
Oh, she's going to say something. Oh, by the way, do you have Peacock?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
There's some. Who's that guy? He's a Middle Eastern guy. Oh, I wish I could remember his name, but he's on now too, and it's killing me because I really like this guy. I just like Joy better.
I know who you're getting at.
Yeah, he was on Al Jazeera for the longest time, and now he was a guest on just about everybody on MSNBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, I wish I could remember his name. He's good. He's really good. And if he was on opposite Chris Hayes, I'd watch him. Of course, that means I'd have to give up what's his name on CNN. But come on, the white-haired dude, Anderson,
Carlson,
yeah.
Tucker.
Here, I'll leave you with this. Do you know what Rush Limbaugh's estimated net worth is? Between
a shit ton.
500 and 600 million. And I never realized this. Did you know Tucker come from like an excessively rich family that he basically never had to work, so he's still making money spreading bullshit on Fox.
Well, Master Grant knew that, but
that's I forgot. He probably met him when he was with Sean.
Yeah, Carlson's a good-looking man.
On that note, I'm out.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
We'll see everybody tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. We're cutting this short right now. This is falling right off the cliff. Anyhow, like I said, we will be back. Thank everybody for watching. Everybody in our chat, we really do appreciate it. Tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel. Until then, goodbye, good luck, and God bless. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye.